Yes, guys, welcome to SFeatley F1, and we're here for the review. Just as we join, uh, sorry, let's join. Yeah, make sure you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, hit the share button as well. Be everyone that's watching, we're doing the review for the French Grand Prix, which has just finished with Max Verstappen taking the first place spot. Lewis Hamilton getting another podium, his fourth podium position in a row, and people said to me he's wasted. 300th Grand Prix been awarded with a second place finish. I was hoping that mechanical failure might hinder Verstappen's chances of winning, giving Hamilton the race win, but as it played out, it didn't. Um, George Russell picking up third place, the last points playing position for Mercedes, making it, I think it's the first double podium, no, the second double podium since the first race of the season, which had to be secured by both Red Bulls coughing up out at the end of the race, and also a late safety car. So, yeah, very, I wouldn't say very event. It was some very good overtaking. There was more chances of overtaking than there were last year, so there's more action. And you could see that the rules changes to make them more susceptible to better racing with less aerodynamic uh, dirty air was paying dividends because you could see him challenge a lot longer into corners, challenge at different parts of the circuit because they were gaining, they were still maintaining the gap or what they've gained that in the corners. They've been able to try and keep up with the driver in front. So you could see that these rules were working for Formula One, and there were more opportunities to overtake. But in terms of the actual front runners of the race, apart from maybe towards the end, where Carlos Sainz looked like he could possibly gain third position into his second pit stop, there wasn't really much going on. Verstappen were removed from the race restart. Verstappen was going to pull away from Hamilton. Hamilton was already pulling away from Perez before his stop. So it looked like he was going to pull away from Perez, and George Russell would maintain his gap with Perez. And actually, what it proved is that Perez couldn't handle the speed, couldn't get to grips with the speed of the Red Bull and get the Red Bull to perform, unlike Max Verstappen yet again. So it meant that Russell could challenge him throughout the Grand Prix, and in the end, with a bold move, which, to be fair, you know what, there was a bold move there that I'll look at it back, but for me, George Russell made an attempt to go down the inside, and by the time he's halfway there, Perez then starts that to close the door. Now, by that point, it means you should give a car which is space, but then Perez closes the door, closes the door, closes the door until Russell's got no choice now. He's committed. He's committed to that braking point. He's committed to that braking area. He can't back out of it, so he has to now force his way onto the curb and sort of tag Perez because he's got no choice of where to go. And this is another instance where Perez has pushed his luck with overtaking manoeuvres and gotten away with it. Red Bull have pushed their luck with overtaking manoeuvres and got away with it. Like, I'll bring you to like last year. Like, we're gonna go back. Like, look, we're gonna go back. On Let me see the battles. Uh, Right. No, that's not it. That's not it. Let me have a look. I'm trying to find it, man. Right, just hang on a sec. I'm just trying to build it up. Build it up. Right. Show you this now. Here we go. So, do you remember this? British Grand Prix. We'll go back to this, right? We'll go back to this. Look at this. Goes in. Hamilton, you can see, was right beside him, going. Right, coming up, side by side. You can see, look, here. He's side by side with him going into that corner. Look, side by side, right? That takes him out, right? Okay, so that's a fair battle, right? If we look at this last season, coming in, so at this point, Hamilton's in front. That Max is not completely alongside him, right? Knows he's run out of road, but doesn't back out of it. He should be giving Hamilton the corner. By the time we've reached, if you go back, hang on, if we go back to, right, this bit here, Hamilton's in front. Hamilton's in front. He's got to give away by this point because of the tightness of the corner. But he doesn't and ends up rolling into him. So again, that is another. I'm sorry, you can't do that. You can't do that. And I've seen it again with Perez. If we look at Perez, Perez versus Hamilton, British GP, right? Right. So if you see here, right, Perez has already cut the corner to try and stay ahead of Leclerc. Look, he's cut the corner to stay ahead of Leclerc, right? So when he should have backed out. That you can't do that, right? So we continue on. You see Hamilton go through the inside. Right, we go to this part here. He's on the inside. Hamilton's on the outside. Hamilton's got the racing line, and he's ahead going into the corner. Right now they're side by side. Right, no, Perez knows Hamilton's going to come around on his outside. Perez shuts the door. Look, he knows he's side by side with him. He knows he's there. right? He deserves some space. He deserves space. At this point, he deserves a car which is space, Hamilton, but no. He gets completely shoved off all four wheels off the road. Not two wheels, four. Which meant Hamilton had to then back out of it, right, and then lose a place to Leclerc. You can't do that. You cannot do that. That is a penalty because you're not giving a fair racing respect to the driver in front of you. Simple as that. If we go to uh, what we saw just now, versus Russell. Right. Look, if we see here, look. So Russell is on board. We're on board with Russell. Goes down for a late move. He's got the inside. He's in the inside. Max, look, at this point, Perez should be giving him a car with a space. He should be. He knows he's there. His mirror is there. His tire is there. If you're telling me Perez can't see his tire, you're talking bollocks, right? He can see his caught tire. He knows he's there. He's got to go around the outside of him, but he knows he goes around the inside of him. He goes tight into the next corner, and then he loses the position going into the next corner, going down to the next straight because George will have the optimal line coming out the optimal exit, right? Which so he squeezes him and squeezes until Russell is forced onto the curb, has to correct the steering, right, because of the bumps on the curb, unstable in the car, which then pushes himself into Perez, right, and then Perez, to safeguard his position, what does he do? Right, what does he do? He then takes the escape road and maintains his position. And you're telling me that doesn't deserve, and you're telling me, look at back in Russia, right? First lap, in Austria, the first lap in Austria, again, Red Bull, Russell, streaming down to the, what is it, lap one. Can I make a point as well? These Dutch fans, yeah, you can bring your canisters of yellow or orange smoke. Don't let off the orange smoke at a point that's close to the circuit, because when they came round out of this corner and then round the horseshoe of the turn, which would have been turn 4, turn 5, and then turn 6, 7, something like that around about there, you couldn't see that little sort of straight between the two corners. You couldn't see him through the smoke, which means the drivers are struggling to see. So there's got to be regulations on that. So you can see Russell is fully alongside him. He's fully alongside him. He's fully alongside him. Right? Doesn't steer out. And then Perez squeezes him again. Squeezes him. Right? Which then takes him out of the Grand Prix. And because of that, he gets a penalty for that. You're telling me he gets a penalty for that? That's bullshit. That Russell shouldn't deserve a penalty out of that. Right? He's side by side. He deserves a car with his space. Right? He gets the inside line. He's already on the curb. His steering wheel's not turned left at any point, and then Perez has come across his path and caught him. Exactly what Hamilton did in the British Grand Prix last year. The side by side going into the apex, right? Had to brake because he knew he was at the tighter line. Took the tighter line, never changed his steering wheel. Max, like Perez in Austria, turned the steering wheel further in, which then cut across the Mercedes path. taken them out of the race, right? And you're telling me Mercedes deserve a penalty over that? Bullshit. The same with Carlos Sainz. Same with Perez. Perez squeezed Russell. Does he get a penalty? No. And this is a common theme with Red Bull. Red Bull seem to have to want to commit murder to try and get any sort of penalty out of the FIA. It's a fact. It is facts. Right? The FIA will struggle. It used to be Ferrari and Schumacher back in the John Todd, Schumacher, Ross Bourne days of the early noughties, right, when he was winning all these championships with Ferrari. But now it seems to be Red Bull and Max Verstappen and Perez, and now even Perez, where they can get away with these sort of dirty tactics, and the FIA don't want to seem to do anything about it. Like, what you're supposed to do. Let me know your thoughts. There's 25 people watching in the chat right now. Big up to all of you. Let me know your thoughts. Am I right or am I wrong? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know. I want to know. Right? I'm even going to put it as a poll. Right? Let me just get on my other YouTube account. Right? I will gladly do a poll for every. If you stick in the chat for 2 seconds, I will put it in a poll right now. Right? You can decide. Like, collision today between Russell versus Perez, not investigated. Who is to blame? Incident. Incident. Big up everyone that is watching, by the way. I really do appreciate it. Yeah. Hang on. George Russell, Sergio Perez. I'm also going to add an option or both to blame racing incident. Right. On that. Put that in the poll right now. So there you go. Right. So Leclerc, his title charge is coming to an end at the minute. He's made so many mistakes. It's not just him, Ferrari as well. Ferrari have, and I said this in the watch along, if you haven't watched it, right? Ferrari have not had the same structure above the drivers and like the whole board since the Warby Burn, John Todd, and Ross Bourne days with Michael Schumacher. Since then, even Stefano Domenicali straight after that had 2007, 2008, which was what left over, the cars left over from Schumacher's era. Then it was 2010, he lost the championship. 2012, lost the championship. 2014 was his worst season ever in Formula 1 for Ferrari, right, which meant he resigned. Arriva Bene couldn't lead them to greatness. Binotto can't make strategic decisions. He hasn't got the balls to tell Sainz, no, let Leclerc through. He's the main man. You're not in this title fight in a minute. Right? He hasn't got the balls to say it. He's trying to please both parties, and at the minute, that's cost him so many points. It's also cost the reliability has been a major factor as well. So you can't blame it all on Leclerc, right? But Leclerc's got the chance to become a great world champion. He's got the potential. He's got the speed. He's got the natural talent, right? You see it on many occasions. But he has a tendency to make these silly mistakes. Vettel had a God-given natural talent, but he now makes these silly little mistakes, which is now why he is where he is. Since 2018, he kept making those silly mistakes, right? Which cost him that title and then cost him 2019 as well, right? But so both Ferrari and the drivers are to blame for themselves for their own downfall. They came into this season as one of the sort of favourites coming from pre-season testing. They were full of confidence. They looked like the fastest out of the two, right? With Red Bull a close second. Now they're struggling to keep behind, keep in front of the Mercedes. And speaking of Mercedes, what a performance again this weekend. Okay, qualifying did not get off to a great start. If we can compete in qualifying, we could seriously challenge and maybe even win a Grand Prix. The Hungarian Grand Prix, I am really positive towards that now because it's a stronghold for Mercedes. Hamilton, it's a stronghold for Hamilton. He's won it twice as many times as the next most driver to win the Hungarian Grand Prix, 8 times compared to Schumacher's 4. Right? He loves that circuit. He'll want to absolutely smash it at the Hungarian Grand Prix. He should have won it last year, to be honest, if he didn't make that stupid mistake at the start of the race. But yeah, I strongly hold out that that could be the weekend we finally get Mercedes from going double podium finishes, challenging in races, right? Because let's be honest, he had a chance to win the British Grand Prix as well, which is another stronghold of his. 8 times there. No, nine times there now, I think he is. Uh, wherever time. It's 2008, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2008, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2019, 2020, 2021. It's 8 times he's won there at British Grand Prix, and he'll want to win it again. Mate, he'll want to win it again. Trust me. They were 30 seconds off the pace. Mercedes did a crap job. They got the podiums because Leclerc crashed and Sainz pitted. You could say that as well, but if you look at the pace throughout the race, Hamilton was able quickly, clearly stay in front of Perez. He dealt with the early pressure from Perez, and then as you saw in Britain, as the tyre degradation and the race strategy played out, they seemed to grow in confidence in their car and its abilities over Perez, who was struggling to then keep up with Hamilton, and then at the end of the race was struggling to keep uh, Russell behind, which shows again Mercedes are progressing forward, right? And yes, they are not going to win the championship, right? I already know that, but what they are doing is using this car to learn so they can be title challengers next season. So, like, these are strongholds for Mercedes. We expect, like, some people expected them to be good here. Some people even expected to win. I didn't expect them to win, right? I don't probably expect them to win in Hungary either. But they've got to, if you're looking at any chance where they could win a Grand Prix, France, Hungary, uh, where else is a stronghold? Yeah, uh, there is a difference between progressing and only getting passed by ship. Uh, they can progress while also being well off the pace. Yeah, don't, they have progressed since. Look, they've progressed since the start of the season, right? If you saw the start of the season, they were always 30 seconds behind by the end of the race. Miles away. Miles and miles. So if we got a podium, we'd be jumping for joy. Now, Hamilton's been able to get 4 podiums in a row. And if it ain't him, it's Russell, getting towards the podium positions. And like I said, the British Grand Prix, if Ferrari carried on with their inter-team squabbling because the way of the mistakes they keep making internally as a team, like I said with Binotto, Hamilton would have got the gap he needed to make that pit stop and come out in front. And then you're talking about him then pitting under the safety car at the end of that race to then go on and win the race, right? So, like I said, if we go to these strongholds that Mercedes have been good at, you can is have something in common. Ferrari, DNF, well, not in Great Britain. Uh, Not in Great Britain. Not in Bahrain. Uh, Saudi. Let's have a look at the results so far. Let's have a look at the results. Okay, I'll see. Let's see the results so far. See what's in see that if you're right about that. So let's have a look at that. Right, give it that screen. And have a look at the. So Bahrain, they finished 1-2 Ferrari and Hamilton third. Saudi Arabia was a poor race for them. Australian Grand Prix, I think it was Sainz. What happened with Sainz then? Yeah, Sainz had a DNF, right? Italy nowhere near. United States nowhere near. Spain was one retirement. Was it one retirement, I believe, or two retirements? Uh, it was Ferrari retirement. There was only two retirements. Charles Leclerc. Where's Carlos Sainz finishing? Carlos Sainz finished fourth. He finished fourth behind Russell. So, like, Monaco, that was poor. Azerbaijan, I think, was a double retirement for double DNF. But again, like, but then again, like I'm saying, look, like you can say all these things Red Bull did, yeah, but it's a great comment. He might have the fastest car on the planet. If it's not the most reliable, it means nothing. If you ain't got reliability, it means nothing, does it? If you don't then finish the race, right? Um, Verstappen damaged leaving the space. But like I said, if you haven't got reliability, which Ferrari have been lacking, they they struggle. If you have, you'll struggle to win any race. You'll struggle to finish any race. Right? Mercedes, I'm not like I've said. I'm not saying Mercedes are back. They're not title challengers or looking like they could come make a comeback. That's out of the question. What I'm saying is that you can take a car that, and I'll give you an example. 2013, Hamilton's first season at Hungary. At Hungary, um, um, in Hungary, and it was the season where Red Bull were dominant. It was the last race of that season before Vettel went on that nine race streak all the way to the end, um, from the Belgian Grand Prix to the end. 9 race streak he went on, winning every single race. pole position, I think, every single race apart from maybe a couple, right? So Red Bull had the faster car throughout that season, but on that weekend, right, despite the tyres failing on them, which usually would happen, they managed to fight and managed to get a win out of it, right? 2021, they were 3 tenths to 4 tenths lower in qualifying than Red Bull in the first race, but teamwork managed to win them the Grand Prix. Like, if you can have a fast car, if you've got a fast car that's within about 3 tenths a lap slower, you can still, if you race the wheels off the thing, you can still challenge for a win. Like, you can still challenge for it. Trust me. Like, you've seen many examples throughout the year because in those 3 or 4 tenths is where a driver would make up the talent of a driver would make it up. Right. Whereas if you're, so say like Hamilton in Bahrain last year managed to make it up, whereas Bottas last in that same race couldn't. Like, of course, but that still doesn't make it correct to say because well, they are progressing. They've come a long way since the first race of the season. By a mile, they've come from a long way. Like, well, you said we could see Mercedes fighting for more podiums next week, and for pole by the end. You don't know. Don't know what Mercedes are coming up with next. They've already come up with upgrades for this Grand Prix. I'm sure they're coming up with more upgrades for Hungary because obviously it's a circuit that requires a lot of downforce. There'll be probably progress in terms of upgrades for Monza. I think they'll struggle in Monza because their engine power unit is not as good as it was. But there you go, man. Like, I am not sitting here saying that Mercedes are going to come back and dominate the world. I'm just saying that they could grow and progress to have the potential of winning a Grand Prix this season, or make one Grand Prix or two. It's still possible. It is possible. That's the whole point of Formula One. Like, the whole point of Formula One is so teams can innovate and create upgrades that will benefit the car, so they can make the car go faster, so they can catch teams up, so they can challenge for wins, they can challenge for podiums and points positions. Just because they've had this set as being the third place team since the start of the season means they're just going to stay there for the rest of the season. And plus, also, compared to what Schumacher managed to do, Hamilton's had a harder job to manage to do that with Mercedes than he's had to do with when Schumacher did with Ferrari, because back in Ferrari's time with Schumacher, they were allowed to test as much as they want at Maranello. You were allowed to go back to Maranello or Silverstone or wherever you test may be and do your own tests, to test tyres, to test suspension, try all these different things. And whereas now you have regulated test sessions, which you can only do if they're formal test sessions set by the FIA, and other than that, you can only use practice sessions, or to save on costs. Simple. So developing a car takes much longer and harder than it was before back in Schumacher's day or in Senna's day, because you could do as much as you want back then. So, but there you go. We're going to move on because I think Sainz deserved driver of the day, getting bottom last to I think it was fifth in the end. I think he should have stayed out, to be honest. I think he should have stayed out. He would have got third position in my mind. Third position. And by the way, Cobalt Skies, I really do appreciate your contribution to the chat as well, mate. Really do appreciate it. It's definitely like a good debate to have there. I really do. And anyone else who wants to share their opinion, please do. We're gonna do the play. We're gonna do play rate, driver and team ratings for this season, for this Grand Prix. Let's have a look at the. Oh, hang on. It may get rid of this. Get rid of this. Right. So yeah, I mean, who is everyone else's driver of the day? Who would you go for as driver of the day? I'd love to know as well. I'd love to know who do you think deserves driver of the day? I think Conor Sainz deserved it overall. On the day, he managed to get the car up back into fifth despite Leclerc's troubles. I think flop of the day would have been definitely Charles Leclerc. Um, really let himself down with what happened at turn 13. Is that Leclerc's season over? Like title challenge over for some people? Like, because it could spell the end of their title challenge, and it could be down to the two Red Bull drivers fighting it out the way it's going. And I mean that truthfully, because where else, it's gonna struggle. No problem, mate. Always good to hear other people's spin. That's exactly what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. All love and respect here, man. All my love and respect. Plus, um, anyone else that's in the chat, I'll put the link in as well. So right there, 0 to 10, rating them as well. Right, from 0 to 10. So let's start with the Haas drivers. Let's start finishing the bottom champions last season, and let's go to F1, and we're gonna go to F1. Right, circuit schedule. Starting grid. So I'm gonna start with Kevin Magnussen at the start the back of the grid with a penalty. We start with a penalty at the bottom of the grid, who ended up finishing out of the points because he was that move with I think it was, who was that move against? I couldn't remember now. Latifi, I think it was. That I feel was too aggressive. Way too aggressive. Way too aggressive. Right, and that's why he's never got a top team, because he's too aggressive. For me, that's trash. It was dismal. Mick Schumacher finished 17th after he started 17th. He then finished in 15th, bottom of the pile. I'll give him a 1 as being generous. All in all, a very poor weekend, 0 weekend for Haas. Sorry, I need to share it. I need to share it. Bad, my bad. There you go. So there you go. That's very poor in my opinion. We're going to move on to. Plus, put your ratings down as well. We'd love to hear your opinions. Alfa Romeo. Let me have a look at Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo. By the way, if you do like what you see, do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Do watch-alongs, reviews, previews, and new shows as well, and shows on F1's history as well. Back to a full schedule next week, hopefully, if the COVID doesn't get any worse that I've got gets any worse. Yes, a minute, I'm suffering from COVID-19 at the minute, so bear with us. Alfa Romeo, let's have a look at them. Alfa Romeo was started 14th for Guan Yu Zhou. He ended up retiring from the race, I believe. Yes, he did. It was the last retirement. So very. I've expected better from Zhou recently, so that's not great at all. That weekend, Stroll. Stroll started. He started in 15th place and he finished 10th, getting the last point of the. So it was a above average performance, to be fair. To be fair, because we're gonna move on to Aston. Sorry, we've got one more driver to do, haven't we? Bottas. Sorry. But there you go. Stroll's bang average there. Bottas for fucking Alfa Romeo. Sorry, started 11th. He then finished in. He then finished. Where did he finish? 14th. So yeah, that's dismal. That's after what I've seen this season, that's trash, and that goes in there. So yeah, very poor by the looks of by the pair of them and the team. Let's go to Alfa Romeo now. So obviously Stroll is in bang average. Let's have a look at Sebastian Vettel. Started 12th and finished 11th. Bang, okay. Seemed better from him. So it was an okay performance by Aston Martin. Pierre Gasly. Oh no, wait, hang on. Who are we going next? Who are we going to go in next? Sorry. And tell you what, we are going to go with AlphaTauri. So Pierre Gasly, AlphaTauri, started 14th. He finished in 12th. So he gained 2 positions. It's poor for him. Very poor. Tsunoda, I think he retired from the race, I believe. Incident lap 1, I believe. No, it was an incident later on, so 19th. Yeah, I'll go along with that. Tsunoda, extremely poor. I think overall AlphaTauri, just very poor weekend in all honesty. We're gonna move on to Williams. Williams is the one we haven't done. Who at the bottom? Williams. Nicholas TV started 18th. He then finished in 17th as a DNF. So again, another trash, just the same as usual. To be honest, so we should put him as okay because that's his level. But there you go. So I'd say extremely poor. Then you've got Alexander Albon. Is so look. Alexander Albon started 13th, sorry, and he finished in 13th. So unlucky numbering, really. Very poor for him, and that's an extremely poor. This is just a very poor weekend by Williams. Moving on to Alpine, right? Their home Grand Prix this season. So, we will start with Esteban Ocon, who survived the Turn 1 incident with Tsunoda to get himself from 10th to finish 8th. So, bang average weekend, though. Good weekend overall, to be fair. Alonso started 7th, and where else did he? Sorry. So Alonso started 7th, and he finished 6th. So it's again another strong, very good performance by very good weekend for Alpine at their home Grand Prix. So they'd be very happy with that. Let's go to now the front runners of McLaren first. One at the front, towards the front. Lando Norris started an incredible 5th in between the two Mercedes. Let's have a look. So if we're looking at Daniel Ricciardo, he started in 9th and finished 8th, 9th. Sorry. So bang average weekend, really. I don't know what's happened with. I know he wasn't quite comfortable with the brake-by-wire system in the seasons when the new rules were introduced. Well, no, when the new sorry, he hasn't been used to the new McLaren's systems since he's been there, and he's just been overshadowed by his teammate, who's an exceptional talent. Let's be honest, Lando Norris is an exceptional talent. Has got the potential to win a championship, but will the team give him a car to do so? I doubt it. But there you go. So, look at that. For Mercedes, only 44 points away swing and fastest lap away. A race winner and fastest lap away from Ferrari in the championship now. 44 points. Wow. Lando Norris. Lando Norris. 5th. He started, and he would finish in 7th. So, good weekend, I'd say. Good weekend. Right. Then moving on to Red Bull. No, Ferrari first we'll start with, actually. Carlos Sainz gets driver of the day for a stellar drive getting back up the field. That's my driver of the day. Let me know if you agree with that or not. Charles Leclerc, trash. Can't bin it like that in the race, especially when you got a title on the line. Right. Ferrari, very poor. Didn't need to pit. In my opinion, they didn't need to pit Sainz, and that was a very poor decision by them, which cost them more valuable points in the championship. I don't know why they did that. It's ridiculous. Absolutely mental why they did that. There was no way he was going to catch that time up. No effing way. Right. McLaren, sorry, their team rating as a whole would have been 7. Sorry. Moving on to Red Bull. So who got second? Max Verstappen. Right, got second on the grid. He then obviously finished as the race winner. Just another top class performance, what we expect from him. Sergio Perez, I would say it was a bang average performance. And the reason why I say bang average is simple as this. He shouldn't have been pulling away. He shouldn't have had Hamilton pulling him away from him. And he shouldn't have Russell pulling up towards him. Like, especially if Max can get the pace of that pace out of the same machinery. So, yeah, a bit disappointed by him. Red Bull, a very good weekend in their books, and I'll take that away with them. Then lastly, the Constructors' Champions, the Mercedes. Hamilton started fourth and then finished second. It's another top class with Verstappen. And then again, Russell is sorry. George Russell, where did he start? He started further down the grid, didn't he? Where did he start? He started sixth, didn't he? Sixth, and he finished in third. So that was a very top class drive by him. So Mercedes had a top class weekend, I can't deny it. But there you go. Those are my ratings for this season, for this weekend's results. Let me know if you hit the like or subscribe if you agree or disagree. I'm gonna wrap this up now because I've got to head off. We'll make dinner and settle down and try and recover from this COVID situation. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Hit the share button as well. Really do appreciate you subscribing to the channel, like and hitting that like button, hit the share button, and we're back to a full schedule next week. But until then, stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you soon.